Hey everyone, your designers are here. I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home.
We have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today, so let's get started.
Hey everybody, so it's episode 272, not just passing through hallway decor tips and ideas. Yes, if you haven't decorated your hallway, we're going to talk about it today and you can get started. Definitely an interesting area in the home to explore for decor. And if you're interested in anything we talk about and want to see it further or check the links, please head to the show notes. You can find them at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/272. And before we dive into the hallway today, I want to tell you about a new friend of mine. Her name is Rachel, and she is at the Frugal Farmhouse, and she has this wonderful YouTube channel. You know how I'm getting really into YouTube, and I'm just loving making her videos. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with it.
You're like a maven.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but Rachel is like a maven. She has such a fun channel. She's got such a great personality, and she has the most beautiful eyes and skin. So sometimes I could just get mesmerized by looking at her eyes. They're so pretty. But she does such fun stuff on her channel. She talks about decor like we do. And she also does sort of these thrift store hauls, and she'll go through and show you all the cool stuff that she got and how she's going to use it. So maybe if you find something at your thrift store that's similar to what she's gotten, she's already given you some good ideas. She's got lots of good tips on bargains that she finds out there in the universe, and she shares them on her channel too. She's also got an Instagram that you're going to want to follow. That's the Frugal Farmhouse. So I'm going to put links to Rachel's YouTube channel as well as her Instagram. And we found each other on YouTube. She started to watch my videos and I was watching her videos, but then I found out she's really been a DTT listener for quite some time.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. So this seemed like a great way to, tell each other's communities about the other, the videos and the podcast. So Rachel's going to be shouting us out on her channel because she's just so sweet that way. So anyway, I really encourage everyone to head over there and check out Rachel's channel. I think you're going to love it, and subscribe when you get there, so you don't miss out any of her videos. And I'll have to ask her what she does in her hallways and see if she has any tips. But yeah, I am going to learn a lot today because I have an upper hallway. I thought about it. I really only have one hallway in my entire house. I don't have a hallway, in the entry. I have that foyer area. And then I really don't have any hallways downstairs. One room leads to the other. And I wonder if in older homes, that was the case. I'm not sure because of, heating and cooling. Maybe they wanted the heat to flow right to the next room, or maybe it was more expensive to create a hallway. I don't know, but I never really considered it.
It's really a waste of, it's not really usable living space. So it really, if you really want to make the best use of your house, that's kind of wasted space in a way.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me that you would not want a lot of space wasted on a hallway.
Right. So I just have the one upstairs. So you go up the stairs, and then there's off of the hallway is the girls' bathroom, Laura's room, Ava's third floor at the end, and then our bedroom. And that's it. So it's really not that long, and it's not wide at all. So, and it's very plain right now. It's very simple. So I really have been struggling with what to do there. And, as Anita's saying, it's really not a room you spend a heck of a lot of time in. So it's definitely last on the list of places to get decorated.
But it doesn't have to be undecorated, though.
No, so that's why we're going to dive in today.
Don't want to ignore. And, I do have a rug in our upstairs hallway, a cowhide rug underneath the shelf area where I have a shelf on the wall. But, I like the idea of a long runner. I think that would be beautiful in your room. And if not much else is going on in there, what a great place to put a beautiful, vibrant, patterned rug. And I think that's certainly, to me, I want some textiles in every room. And if there's no windows in this room, there's no way, really, that's about the only way you can add textiles is with a rug.
Anita, I so agree. And I think that's one of the neatest things that you can do, because if you have a hallway that is not really open to a major room, like my hallway is open to my foyer, but you really can't see the floor. I have really been toying with, and I think I would love to find some hot pink and great fun colors and just put a big long runner, just something so colorful on that floor, because everything else is very neutral. And I think that's such a good idea. But see,
okay, I kind of struggle with that. I remember Yvonne had mentioned to me, in the past, hey, why don't you put something really crazy on the floor? When I think of a hallway, I mean, maybe I should just try it and see if I like it. But I think of a hallway as it's a transitional space. I don't think it should be overlooked, but it definitely, to my mind, is a transitional space. I think it needs to work with the other rooms. And it's almost like the room equivalent of a palette cleanser to me. It's like, it's like sherbet.
So you don't want the color in there.
No, I mean, I don't have a lot of color in my whole house right now anyway. But, each room obviously is going to have more going on than, well, in my case, each room is having more going on in the hallway. There's really nothing going on in my hallway right now. So to my, it's kind of like this kind of resting spot, like I'm saying, this sort of the sherbet equivalent, of, yeah. And then you move into the other rooms where maybe there's some wallpaper or there's an accent wall or there's more color.
I would agree with you full wholeheartedly, Kelly. Now I'm talking personally. So if you have a very neutral home, that is a great place to put color. Mm-hmm. And if you have color going on, you might want to keep it a little more neutral. I really agree with that.
Yeah, so it's just something, right? But it just kind of depends on what you want to do in your home. Although I don't have this in my home, I love the idea of adding some color there.
Oh, I do too.
Not if it's going to take away from what's going on in the rooms that it opens to, or if it's going to clash. Then if you just it's personal preference. If you don't want the color there, you don't want the pattern, then don't do it. But I mean, for me, even if it's a neutral room, I love the idea of a patterned rug. Even when you have all neutral things on top of the rug.
That's a really good point, Anita. Yeah. This will not help you if you have a house, but if you're building a house or thinking about it, you might want to add transoms above your bedroom doors for your hall. We did that, so we have a lot of light in our hall.
So old-fashioned. I love that. And not really something that you see usually in newer homes. It's such an old-fashioned idea, for one thing, to kind of let the light go in the different rooms. But, back in and maybe Kelly houses in her house, they opened up so that the air could circulate.
No, mine are stationary.
Because hers is a new house, but yours is old. So yours was meant for the airflow because it was built before air conditioning.
No, I don't have those. I have a very large window. Gosh, it's probably about 7 or 8 feet in the hall, in the stairwell, which is really the end of my hallway. Like if you wouldn't fall down the stairs, if you just kept going, you'd walk into that window. So I get a ton of light, which is great. So if you get a ton of light in particularly your upper hallway, you're probably in the minority, and it's a little bit easier to decorate that way.
But if you're thinking about building and you're just having a hallway that may be a little darker and you've got bedrooms or bathrooms or whatever rooms, think about putting a transom above that door to let the light from that room into your hallway. It makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing I want to think about, because doing a hallway, it's very different from a living space, the way you're going to handle it. So, for example, if you're in a living room, if you're looking at artwork, I normally recommend a few rather large pieces of artwork, because you're going to be looking from a long distance at the artwork, plus you're looking at the whole room. And if you have a lot of little pieces of artwork, it can really end up looking cluttered. But when you're talking about a hallway, sometimes I like to think of that as even like a gallery for an art gallery. So this is where I've put some of my smaller hand painted, some of my favorite artists hand painted original pieces in the hallway because there's nothing else going on in there and you can really enjoy them. And some of these tend to be smaller pieces anyway. So I feel like they're so beautiful and unique. I really want to highlight them. I feel like they're highlighted better in a hallway. Plus, I feel like if they were in a larger room, they would just get lost.
I agree with you, Anita. And another thing, think of putting some family photos if it's an upstairs hallway. That's a really nice place to put your photos. Just make sure that your frames, I like to use all the same frames and mats and then, your pictures. We're working on that right now. I've talked about that in a previous podcast, that I just think that so many people, have these great collections of family pictures, and that, you don't have a place to put them like all over your house, but you can really pick out the best of the best and use them as like an art gallery in a hallway.
Yeah. And if your hallway is not very long and or not very wide, like if you put your hands to the sides, if you can reach the walls or your hands won't even go all the way up, perpendicular to the floor, then your hallway's pretty narrow, and that's as mine is. And so you may have a situation, I am thinking, I'd like to hang something, but I feel like I don't just have to walk into the bathroom to appreciate whatever I hung out the wall.
Yeah. So it has to be small, right?
Yeah. So it could be small. So I could do something like that. But if you were hesitant to hang something or just didn't know what was right, you could really just decorate. And I'm doing air quotes now because you can't see it, but decorate with moldings. You could add some really interesting crown. You could add some base molding. You could also do some interesting ceiling treatment. I planked mine with those planking packs that I got from Lowe's that I just went crazy with.
Kelly, talk about that a little bit, because that is such a good idea.
So I bought these, and if you've been a listener, you've heard me talk about these before, but I bought these packs of very inexpensive wood pieces at Lowe's, and it is really for planking, sort of very narrow shiplap, if you will. So super easy, about $11 for a pack. And I had them installed in the ceiling just to give it some interest. You could also put some wallpaper on the ceiling, or you could paint the ceiling a different color. Just, something to bring your eye up and just sort of highlight the area a little bit, but without having things hanging on the wall, or certainly in a narrow hallway like that, you're not going to have an opportunity for a console table or anything like that. So this could be the way where you're just doing something that is really affixed to the wall and or the ceiling. And one other thought about the ceiling is it's a great place to have a spectacular chandelier, light fixture, something like that would give off pretty light. If you like the crystally sort of chandeliers, that could be spectacular. More than likely, you're going to have an overhead outlet socket, what have you, electrical box in the ceiling if it's a hallway. So make the best of it. What I did is, because I have two lights in my hallway, the one that is right where the staircase turns, and then there's the one in the center of the hallway. So I didn't want to have them competing with each other, but I knew I wanted one of them to be spectacular. So I chose the spot where it's dangling over the first couple of stairs. Mm-hmm. And I put this really cool chandelier. It's made of sort of patina gold chains, thin chains. I think I got it on One Kings Lane. I mean, before the house was even, it sat in a box for the longest time, but I absolutely love it. And then the other one, because I didn't want it to compete with it, I did that simple schoolhouse light. The one that I told you I got, mm-hmm. I bought in pieces, and I got for maybe $11 for everything at my local hardware store. And I'm so sad, you guys, my local Osh, my hardware store where I got that, and I get so many other things, it's closing.
Oh, that's like a fixture where you live.
I can't really talk about it. I'm very sad. But anyway.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But, so I got to choose which spot I wanted to have the fabulous light. But if definitely, go for it. Find something that maybe you would be sort of fantastical and you may not put in some other place in your house. And oftentimes if you have a small hallway, so it's not too wide, it's not like you have to buy a 28 light chandelier. You can just get one of those tiny little petite ones, but it'll look spectacular there and it'll fit the space well. And it'll really do a lot to add a decor value.
That is so smart.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
I was just going to say, if chandeliers aren't your thing, and I do love them, but just for our space, I got some very high-hanging big drum shades.
Yeah.
So they hang maybe, like 8 inches down from the ceiling, and they're white and they're round and they're big with a light inside it, and they're gorgeous. So just look around, because if shandies aren't your thing, what about a beautiful drum shade? I have 2 of them.
Yeah. And there are very long, rectangular type of light fixtures now. Again, you can get them with the crystals hanging. You can get them with a full-on shade. And how cool would that be in a hallway where, you're just using the one electrical box, but the fixture is, configured such that it will go the length or a good length of the hallway.
Mm-hmm. Now, I also think if you have a hallway like we do, our upstairs hallway, it's semi-open to our foyer. And that's a perfect wall to put some repositional wallpaper on. It's sort of secluded. You can't see the floor. Like I said, I could do something really wild on the floor, but do something very, probably just very geometric. I've been looking at them like a very open with a lot of negative space. And I just thought, wouldn't that be fabulous on that wall? And I've told you this before, if you have wallpaper, I know a lot of old homes have wallpaper. With a lot of these repositionals, you just have to prime your wall, prime right over your wallpaper and let it sit. You have to read the directions. I think ours is like 3 weeks. And then you can put your wallpaper right up over it, your repositional. Now, we've taken down wallpaper, and I actually have wallpaper in the hallway from when we first moved in. It was sort of the yellow marble, like that was all the rage back then. And we've primed it now. It's been primed for a while. It just looks like a white wall, but I'm going to definitely put something over that. And you can see a little bit of that from our foyer. And I think it would would just give a real pop up there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, right. I mean, this is really the other thing to think about when you're doing a hallway is it's not some big room. So doing wallpaper in a hallway is a much smaller job
on a
than
wall,
doing
wall.
wallpaper in a living room or a dining room. It tends to be a smaller space. And so and I love the idea Kelly was mentioning, the adding some molding.
Oh, yes.
Some beautiful molding in your hallway is really something so classic, so beautiful. You're going to want that forever. It's going once and done. You're not going to be wanting to take it off later. It really is such a wonderful touch. And if I could encourage you to do one thing, that would probably be what it would be. Although that's a little more involved than just hanging a photo. But I think that's something that just has a classic elegance to it, to add some sort of molding. I think it would be beautiful.
Well, let's not go leave the hallway without talking about, there's usually doors in a hallway. You're going somewhere, so you're going into a room, and talk about really putting nice doors on your doors so your hallway looks nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. And then, I went with some of these arched French doors, and so they really have a nice look to them. They're not, just kind of your builder's grade doors. I have real wood doors, and we ended up, of course, the builder was like, you should stay in them now because you bought wood doors. And I just thought, I really wanted them painted. And something we did that now I see a lot of people doing, although I really didn't see it done when we did it, was our doors are painted a dark gray, whereas the hallway is a lighter gray. So it's kind of a putty color. It's the agreeable gray on the walls, the Sherwin-Williams. So that's something you can do, is paint all your doors a beautiful shade of, some color that's different than the wall color. And that's going to make it really unique looking too.
I love that idea. I toyed with painting because my house is simply white pretty much everywhere. And I thought maybe I would paint the doors a different color, but obviously I wouldn't paint it like a different white. I would have to paint it a really different color. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about that? If I did something
my goodness,
completely different.
Well, and look, if you want something really unique and poppy, that's probably, that I think would have just as much of a look as doing the molding, and it would be a lot cheaper.
I also think it depends on how many doors you have.
Yeah.
If you've got like a wall of doors.
Red room.
If you've got a wall of doors, a lot of doors on a wall, you definitely want to blend that into the color of your wall. But if you've got just a couple, I think that's a fabulous idea.
Ooh, I could think it. Of course, I'm like, I could make them black.
I think that would be a great idea.
Beautiful with that.
Well, and now even if
gold,
the gold might
with
be
Liberace
I don't
is
know.
in here.
But listen, think about doing this. Thinking about your hardware. Put some really spectacular hardware on all those handles.
Yeah, I got that so far.
That's like jewelry. That's like jewelry.
Old ones. In fact, one of them fell off in my hand the other day, but I love them.
Well, and I kind of alluded to it before, but one of the things we did in our upstairs hallway was I found some antique exterior corbels from a Victorian home, put those on the wall, found some barn wood with the white paint kind of chipping off, and made a shelf. And that's where I actually hang different artwork and mirrors. I change things out. And the nice thing about it is I don't have to hang things on the wall and put in a bunch of holes in the wall because I have the shelf. I can just kind of lean things. And that's the beauty of it is I can try. And the beauty of that is you can change things out all the time without, making extra holes in the wall. So I really love the idea of a shelf in a hallway where you don't have a lot of room. And then, especially if you're putting artwork and a mirror on there.
And
No,
even
I love
like
leaning.
yeah,
And then I like to layer them where there's I have a Louis Philippe original from the 40s. And then I have just some little oil paintings in front of it. And it's just a nice look.
You got a nice look going on, girly.
Oh,
yes, you do, for sure. How about a mirror in a hallway? If you can get away with it, if you have a little light going on, that's going to bounce it around.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
But,
I mean, it's going to add some light to the room if it's a dark hallway.
yeah. So that might work for someone. Speaking of dark, dark is not necessarily bad. We all love the natural light. And yes, if I had to live without my California sunshine, I would be sad. But there's something to be said about a dark room. It's cozy, a little moody.
Darkly painted, you mean?
Yeah, well, dark on its own. And then I'm saying, just go with it. Don't fight it. Don't then try to make it like a bright yellow because it's still going to look like a dark room with bright yellow. It might look a little garish. Like maybe if it's very dark and your hallway's it's just dark, and when the doors are closed, it's just darker. Why not just go with something like an aubergine or charcoal or navy?
I love the idea of
deep
that.
down that road,
Yeah, I love the idea of that. I can just picture it in my head, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not brave enough. I mean,
You're not what enough?
Brave enough. She said,
I don't believe that.
but here's the thing. If it's a hallway, I don't think it requires as much bravery as a room.
No, you're
I don't think it's as
absolutely
risky.
right. But you're absolutely right. But in this house, But I'm not saying don't ever say never. Never say never, because the thought of like a deep aubergine just about puts me over the brink.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm picturing like a London townhouse and you walk up the stairs and then there's your aubergine
With a gilded mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And but here's the problem with hallways. Oftentimes, well, we know they lead places, so it's the whole point, but there's lots of times they lead to staircases, and there is the question of where do you stop the paint? Where is that line? Like Yvonne's talking about this certain wall in her hallway, and it sounds like it might be somewhat on its own where she could put this positionable wallpaper. Because otherwise, like my situation, like I would have to either, which you could do, I would have to create on one side of the hallway, maybe putting a piece of shoe molding on the vertical and just making it a stop place.
A stop place. Well, see, that's why I said it's open. My one side of my stairway is open. So it's perfect to do that.
Right.
It would be a little harder and I think a little odd if you had both sides long and the enclosed and you only did one. I don't think that would work.
Right.
I think if you have an open stairway, and I know a lot of people do with a hallway, I think that's a great look. So, if it may not work for you or it may, depending on how, your architecture in your home.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. You could try a chair rail as well. And if you have one, great. If you don't have one, you could break up the walls of the hallway that way. Might not work so well if you have a hallway that has a lot of doors leading out of it, because it'd be so much stop and start.
I think that would look busy if it had too many
had too many doorways. Like I don't think that would really work for mine. But if you had a long hallway that, say, just led to a room at the end of it, or maybe there was just one other doorway on one side, you could try a chair rail. You could add some beadboarding, wainscoting, or you could just simply do the chair rail and then paint the bottom a different color than the top. That's adding some interest without too much of a commitment.
Here's an idea. Speaking of not too much commitment, I know we all love wall sconces, but they do usually require wiring. But sometimes you can find lighted wall sconces that have the cords that you can just plug in. And I have some of those, and they're just beautiful. So that's another way that you can lighten up a dark hallway without, if you don't have room to put a lamp in there, without doing wiring. Mm-hmm. So, that's something that you can look into. And then the candle ones as well, you can do, which don't require wiring, obviously.
Well, I was thinking of you last night, Anita. I think of you often, but I was thinking of you in particular last night because we were having Peter's little birthday celebration in the dining room. So we were, pulling out all the stops. So Laura's like, how do you put these candles on? So those are the ones that had the batteries in them, the tapers that I talked about a few episodes ago when we talked about the illuminating, getting the autumn glow and all of that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we put them on, and I thought, and I just left them on, like you said. I didn't twist them off. And so we'll just see tonight. They'll be on, and I'll just be using my batteries, but it doesn't matter. They're going to look so pretty around 5 o'clock when it starts to get dark. I'm excited to see them just be on.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Good.
Laura said, I'll turn them off when we were done. I said, no, leave them on.
That's
so I'm going to try that for the fall. So thanks for that idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So you could use those in the hallway too. Like if I found these cheapy sconces on Etsy, and they had no wiring, they were just for candles. So I got the battery operated tapers, and you could do that in a hallway.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I think obviously you're limited because you can't really put a piece of furniture, you can't put pillows unless there's a window, you can't put curtains. So I think the thing is you really have to turn to the walls and the floor and think, what can I do?
And the ceiling.
And the ceiling. So, I mean, those are things. So maybe even something else to add to the walls that might add some texture. Let's say you wanted the look of picture frame paneling, but you don't want to do it. If you could find 3 old, beautiful frames that matched, you could just kind of hang them on the wall, and they would maybe kind of have the feeling of picture frame paneling. And depending on the material, you might even be able to paint them the color of your wall. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Or, Kelly's idea, your idea, Kelly, I love, is taking the large frame and then filling it with some cool antique wallpaper.
Yeah, that's a really great thing to do in the hallway too, because, and especially if you're a renter or you're just a little afraid of going too far down the wallpaper trail, just try those panels and they can be long and skinny, which, maybe that's what your hallway is. So it might work out just great.
These are such wonderful ideas. Now think of all the things we talked about for just that little space alone. That little space is an important space in our house. And we hope that you'll take some of these ideas and run with them. Remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey, everybody, we want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. So until next time.